someone commenting something very mean or hurtful on someone's famous oh my god, okay, let me start it again. Someone famous.
Someone famous.
Hi everyone, welcome to the 11th episode of Sound On. Today we'll be talking about whether social media is ruining our lives, because I know social media is part of everyone's lives these days. So we'll just be talking about the positives and negatives of social media. So this episode we have Aliessa with us. Aliessa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Aliessa Sophia, soon to be third year economics with finance student. I'm currently living in Ampang right now, and due to COVID-19, there's not much going on in my life. So lately, I've been celebrate Raya je lah. Tu je. Raya, Korban.
Okay.
That's about it.
That's about it? Okay.
What have you guys been doing?
We have been, both of us have been interning. Actually, we started our internship at the same time.
Ooh!
Yeah,
on the same day, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My internship got cancelled.
Oh, really? Is it UK?
Yeah. No. So Maybank, Maybank recruited me already. Like I already had like my position, my department, who my boss is, and stuff like that. And then like a week before I was supposed to move into office, they cancelled all internships.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So then I was like, and then by that time I couldn't really get new internships because all the other internship companies were like, oh, we need you for at least 3 to 6 months, preferably 6 months. Like you're good and all, but we can't have you if you're not going to stay for long.
Your internship was like what? Was it the one where you have to go to like Menara Maybank?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
like at the HQ.
That's the one everybody wants to get when they go to Maybank, right?
Yeah, but you know, I was supposed to. Tapi they had to cancel that because they said that most of the heads are working from home.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I think it makes sense actually. It's a bit hard also to have internships now.
Yeah. But where are you guys interning now?
I am interning in AstraZeneca. So it's like a pharmaceutical company. Chris?
I'm interning at a think tank in Mont Kiara. It's called KSI, Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific. So I'm a research intern there. So yeah, I'm doing research. I write reports, write speeches and all that. Yeah.
I just tutor now since there's no intern, since what happened. So I just tutor.
Oh, like who? Oh, like
not many.
What do you tutor?
Maths and science and English. Occasionally.
Okay. Primary school kids, is it?
Lower secondary.
Lower. So like Form 1, Form 2, Form 3?
Yeah, but it's like, Form 1, Form 2, 3. But it's mostly like, one's my brother, my cousin, and my mom's friends' children. That's one way to keep myself busy lah.
Yeah, and of course, one other way all of us have been keeping ourselves busy or preoccupied is probably through social media, which is why we're discussing this today. So, Aliessa, can you tell us your personal experience about social media? Like, have you been using it a lot more now? Or has your growth in the use of social media increased lately?
So, lately, because of what's happening nowadays, I use social media like a lot more. So my phone, like, it can track how long you use social media, right? And then every day I look at the graph just for fun, right? And they always tell me like every week, oh, your usage has increased by 70% this week. So
70%.
Yeah. So I know that I'm using more social media lately because there's less things to do and less things to focus on. So I use more social media. Like the apps I like to use is Instagram, Twitter, the essentials, Instagram and Twitter, and lately a lot of TikTok.
Okay. yeah, maybe we can just like, since you mentioned TikTok, right? Maybe we can just like talk about TikTok for a bit. So okay, so I personally don't have TikTok, so I have no idea how it works. I just know that it's like videos, right? So like how does it work?
Yeah.
Well, so TikTok is okay. So this is TikTok's icon. If you don't have it, it's this one over here.
Okay.
You know, like that. So how TikTok works is that you post 15 seconds to a minute worth of videos, and that's basically it. It's just like a short video sharing platform. But
And then you can have like audio with it and all that, right?
Yeah. So what makes it so captivating is like macam, like because it has this For You page that it's like Instagram's Explore page, but it has a For You page, which kind of like curates it so that it's something you want to watch. So everyone's For You page is different, and it's so weird how like I compared my For You page and my friend's For You page is different. Mine is more dancing and art and anime, but hers is like fashion and maybe painting, like specifically painting, and maybe memes. Yeah, so it really feels personalized, and you don't really get bored because it's something you like. And then when it comes to making your own content, it's usually a hit or miss, because like I make some for fun, just for fun, because it's fun. So I see what people are doing, then I try them out. But normally they will get about 50 to 100 views, which I don't mind. I'm just doing it for fun. But like there's this one video which got like 18,000 views, but I'm not sure why.
Ooh, damn, that's a lot.
So it's normally a hit or miss if you make it or not. But the entertainment is there.
Yeah, I heard that someone told me that TikTok's basically your videos actually can reach a very wide audience depending on your luck. So, which is why you can see that, like, you know, for instance, when it comes to say like Instagram posts, for example, if someone like posts a video or like say, I don't know, in terms of like likes, for example, there's usually like some level of consistency there, right?
Yeah.
Every post. But when it comes to TikTok, the consistency isn't there.
Yeah.
Unless you're like someone who's like super like TikTok famous or something like that, right?
Yeah. Unless you've already established a fan base, then your views would probably be consistently higher, which is normal for all social media. But it makes it so that every, like, even small accounts have a chance to get it big because of the inconsistency in the algorithm.
Yeah. So I don't have a TikTok account, but I actually have the app in my iPad. So every now and then I just go up there and see. So I don't have an account. So like my For You page is like, it's not like catered from like based on my preference. It's basically like all sorts of like different videos in there. So yeah.
Oh, you can do that? You don't need an account to watch?
You don't need an account.
No, you don't. An account is more like for you to make your own, and then you can like videos.
You can like and comment and all that.
Yeah. Once you like and comment, then TikTok can, you know, learn what you like.
Yeah, so I don't have an account, but I have the app. So every time I go in there, which is not too often, every now and then, like I can't comment on anything. I can't even read the comments, but you can see the videos. So yeah.
Go make an account.
No, because I don't even use it.
Comments are sometimes funny.
Yeah, that's true. Actually. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I did a TikTok once in the UK, but it was really bad. It's not.
Oh my god, you did?
It's my friend's one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get my hands on it one day.
It was during a house. It was during a house party.
Oh. Okay, we're gonna do one. Let's do one.
But only a few people have it, so it's good because I'm actually quite embarrassed by it.
Okay.
I want to see it.
Yeah, now I want to see it too.
One day.
Yeah, we'll dig it out one day. Okay, so
but yeah.
Yeah, so cause I was wondering, right? TikTok is like, so it's different from like Insta or Twitter where you can just like anyone can post anything and it takes like 1 or 2 seconds to post it. But then for TikTok, right, I feel like there's a lot of effort that goes into making videos. So like I was quite surprised that it actually got very famous. So do you think that TikTok like the usage of TikTok shot up during the MCO because a lot of people had time to make videos? And do you think that, you know, now that things are slowly going back to normal, do you think the usage will go down?
That's quite hard to say. I can definitely agree that because of MCO that the use of TikTok increased, because it's very easy to just pick up your phone and then do something at home, you know? But now that, like, if everything goes back to normal slowly, there will definitely be a decrease in the use of TikTok because people will have less time on their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still feel like it'll still be relevant.
I think it'll still be relevant, definitely, because
Yeah.
things that, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not too sure about this. So I've been aware about TikTok's presence since I was like, even before I went to the UK, but it seemed to be like mostly catered towards Asians initially, I think. But
Because
there's like so much activity now in like the UK and the US with
Yeah.
regard to TikTok as well. So it's actually like really growing.
So TikTok was actually Musically. You guys remember Musically?
Oh wait, is this
Oh, it's
is it
actually
the same
Musically.
thing?
Oh,
Yeah, you know the one where people like
yeah, I know Musically. I know
yeah,
Musically. Yeah.
yeah, of course. It's called Music. I was on. No, I didn't have to make a TikTok account because I had a Musically account.
So TikTok comes from Musically.
No, it is Musically, but
Oh my gosh, I didn't know.
a Chinese company bought Musically
Oh my gosh, I didn't
and
know.
then changed its name to Dou. I don't know how to pronounce
Oh
it.
yeah.
Douyin.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know also.
Yeah, so it was actually a whole like wholly a Chinese video app. There wasn't the TikTok as we see now. They made it. They changed Musically to TikTok. So then the global market can.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I
Yeah,
have no
same.
idea at all.
We learn something new every day. But we cannot access the Chinese TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
We have no access to Douyin unless maybe you have a VPN or something. I don't know. But
So
there's no access.
only people from China can use that, is it?
Yes, because the Chinese government, they control it. So so what if you see videos from the Douyin app, it's probably someone who has it and then they screen recorded it somewhere and then spread it to the rest of the world. But we generally don't have access to that app.
Okay. Yeah, since just now, right? Since you mentioned about how TikTok like caters, like the For You page, they have like some sort of algorithm to like show the videos that you are interested in only, right? So yeah, I think moving on to maybe we can talk about like the negatives of social media first. So I think that
let's start with the negatives.
this is one of the things that people don't really like about social media. I think it's because people think that it's some sort of an invasion
of privacy.
Invasion of privacy where these social media accounts are like, especially Facebook, right? Because now Facebook owns Insta and WhatsApp, and like honestly for me, like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp is the one that I use the most. So I think that Facebook has a lot of control over our data. Yeah, and I think there's a famous conspiracy theory that Facebook is listening to our conversations, and I personally experienced that as well. Like I feel like there was one day I was talking about something out of the ordinary. Like I don't usually talk about it, and then suddenly like an ad appeared in my Instagram and Facebook feed. So yeah, have you guys experienced that before?
Yeah, actually, I'm actually like not really. I've never experienced that kind of instance in which I say something and then that thing pops out. But this is something like someone from work actually mentioned as well. Like he was just like, he's not surprised if actually Google is actually listening to what he's saying, because he was basically saying that he and his wife were talking about something the night before, and then the following day, like the issue that they were talking about literally like popped up on his like phone. Actually super weird. But I think that perhaps maybe it's because he could have searched up something similar to that before. Maybe that's why. Because the thing is, it's actually quite scary in a sense that because I think they like store cash or something like that from basically the data or the things we search. Like for instance, if you buy something online, right, their ads will just keep on coming out after that. So that's the biggest experience I've had with it. So like in terms of like say Instagram, for example, the kind of posts that I actually like, or like let's say the celebrities that I actually follow and I like their posts, so they literally fill up my explore section with them. So that's how they collect data, I think. I mean, that's my experience. Yeah, I've never had an experience in which I talk about something and it shows up. But I think that all of us know for a fact that our data is being collected
Yeah,
by
definitely.
social media, particularly. And in fact, I think that the link is actually quite scary to a certain extent because, for example, like, when we're in the UK, we buy something from, say, ASOS, for example, right? So we use the ASOS app to buy something. And then, like, how is it that Facebook suddenly starts popping up with ASOS ads all over the place? You know what I mean? So, that's his experience. That's my experience with this. Yeah.
For me, it's like it just happened just now actually. So I told my mom, like, after I'm having this call with you, I'm gonna go to the mall, and then does she want anything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then I was like, oh, mommy, yesterday at the grocery store, I saw this new Nestle Musang King ice cream.
Okay.
She's like, wow, can you get it for me? And then it's like, yeah, sure. Then like, and then like, I don't know how. I don't remember searching out. Maybe I did. I don't remember. And then like, but it was so fast.
It appeared on your feed, is it?
After she left, oh no, yeah, I searched it up. I searched it up on Chrome in my phone to show her the picture of the tub. And then and then she was like, okay, Kakak, go get it for me. And then she left the kitchen where I was sitting. And then I opened Instagram, clicked on the story page, and the first thing I saw was the Musang King exact tub as the ad.
Oh my god.
If it was durian, it was a durian ad about something else, like it's not as like scary.
Yeah, yeah.
This is like tub
specific.
of ice cream I want. Like the exact Nestle Musang King tub I wanted. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna buy you later. Just wait.
So the question about this then is that do you feel comfortable knowing that your data is being collected like that? Are you like cool with it? Are you not like not particularly affected by it?
Not fully comfortable, but at the same time not uncomfortable enough to do something about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case for most of us over here because we're basically
the majority.
we're just students anyway. Like there's nothing much for us to like be worried of in terms of like our data and all that. So like for me, I'm quite uncomfortable by the fact that my data is being collected. But at the same time, it's not something that would like make me too concerned about it because first and foremost, I don't have much to hide. So that's the problem. But perhaps potentially it could be a problem later on. I don't know.
In the future, right?
In the future.
Yeah. Like when we have like more money to stuff right now, we like have nothing. So
yeah, or like if you're like going to become like someone big, for example. I'm not saying that I would be, but, for example, like your employers look at those kind of things.
Manifest it to the world.
So, but yeah, there's always the option to cut off. I mean, you can always start afresh in social media, delete everything. But people will still be able to dig things.
Yeah, another worry is also because since how you said that we might, have better careers in the future, be someone big, right? That also means data can be big. Like they could evolve into, they could be smarter at collecting data, collect more data, dig deeper into data. So as we grow, data also grows. So that's kind of worrying as well.
Yeah, true. And like, okay, so for example, this is not really about like data privacy breaching or whatever, but like I think that time during the Black Lives Matter movement, right? I think a lot of famous people got like cancelled because people like started digging up people started digging up their tweets from like 10 years ago and like using that against them. So I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I mean, it's true that they said something wrong, right? But if like 10 years ago, like for me, like I've said dumb things 10 years ago and I don't think that's reflective of me now. Things. Yeah, so that's the thing about social media.
That's another con. That's another negative part. Is definitely the pressure. The pressure and the social status quo.
Yeah, I think it's about digging up things from the past, right? I do think that like a number of prominent people, like when people dig up their past social media posts, they actually find out that they've said like things that they shouldn't say. So I think that whilst it is bad, not bad, I wouldn't say it's bad, but like it's bad for the person who's involved in it because it'll definitely like damage them to a certain extent. But I think that when that happens, I think that people are able to differentiate what the person meant. I mean, the person's character right now and what he said in the past. So, like for instance, if someone is were to dig up something we said when we were 12, like right now we're like 20 something. Like we can say that like that is the past and all that. But the most important thing I would think is that we should just own up to what we said in the past. I think that your actions are more important than what you said 5 years ago. So
yeah. Back to the part where we said like Facebook is listening to our conversation and all that, right? So actually Facebook has publicly denied that they do that, even though a lot of people still think that they do. But so I was just like researching a bit before this episode, and they say that Facebook actually doesn't listen to your conversation, but what they do is they have like I think they call it data brokers, where they just hire all these people to find out like really personal information, and it's also including like the purchases in your credit cards. That's how they know what you buy and all that. So I think that is really scary when it goes to the point of like looking at your credit card and like they know where you
my
are.
Credit card, you know.
They know where you are, they know the people you know, and like because we all have the part where like on Facebook there's like a section that's like people you may know, and I'm sure that I'm sure it's very accurate. Like for me, right, the people you may know,
accurate.
It's really people I know. So that is really creepy. I find it really creepy. Yeah.
How do you know people that I may know, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You're an AI.
Yeah. So moving on to like I think so first one, the first like negative part of social media is privacy, right? I think the second part second part would be mental health. I think this is quite a big problem as well, where people find like maybe especially not just teenagers, but I think especially teenagers, right? They find that social media is like a stressor, like a very big stressor. So for example, you compare yourself to the people you see on your Instagram feed, or like for example when you post something and it doesn't get the numbers that you expect, like number of likes, comments, you don't,
or even to a certain extent views, story views.
Story views,
and you question your worth.
Exactly. So I think it's about, we feel like, okay, so for example if there's like a product on sale, right, and then like you are letting people like put like 5 stars, 4 stars and all that on your product, but then when it comes to social media, it's like we are the product and we are allowing other people to attribute values on us, like people that we probably don't even know.
Oh, that was
and
good.
And like we are quantifying ourselves. So like I think that is one of the few reasons why people say social media hurts mental health. What do you guys think about that?
Chris, you can go first.
Okay, I do think that social media actually does hurt people's mental health, especially those who are already struggling themselves. So I think that very often we don't realize that, like actually the point that you made about us being the product on social media is actually very, very interesting. I've never actually thought about it that way, but I do think that social media actually does hurt people's mental health, because I think that for many people, whenever they post something on social media, they do expect a certain number of, say, likes, a certain number of views, a certain number of comments. So I think that whilst that is not a very, I should say, that's perhaps not a very big mental health issue. Perhaps that's about how secure you feel as an individual, how much self-worth you attribute to yourself. But I think that it actually becomes a big problem when people actually become affected by the number of likes that they get, for example, the number of views that you get, and even when they compare their content with their friends' content, for example. So I think that's when it's actually very, very damaging to mental health. Because like I said, I mean, these things, I don't think that it really affects a lot of people sometimes. But the fact that it happens still means that there is a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that it's a good point to actually mention that, and I think this can be related back to Mel and my episode on our episode on self-love, because a lot of people they compare themselves on social media, and social media actually fails to show people at times that that's not what you see on social media is not everything that happens in life, because it basically is the best moments. So of course there are people who do publicize
their sad
moments on Instagram. For example, when a close relative passes away and all that, some people do post up messages and all that. But I think that in comparison, I dare say that most people post the happier moments. So you actually don't see the big picture of people. So which is why sometimes like when something bad happens to somebody, you're often like very shocked. You're just like, how did that happen? Like I didn't see that coming, because it's clear that social media doesn't show all these instances. So yeah, that's what I think about it and mental health. And like people need to realize that social media, for all it's good, there's a lot of negatives as well. So people to be able to like just treat social media as their safe space, as it should be, rather than it as being a space to like publicize yourself and stuff like that. But like I said, like social media does hurt mental health to a certain extent, which is why like some people even go as far to like having a separate Instagram account, for example. Keep things to themselves. So yeah, but I do think that there is a good in that as well, because that actually helps people express themselves in a way where they don't want too many people to hear what they say. So yeah. So it's social media is actually a very good tool. Like for instance, I said about like a separate account, like private accounts, basically. It actually gives people a platform to express themselves to a more limited or close audience. So I do think that it has benefits for all its flaws.
Yeah, so basically on what Chris said is like true, like everything in its essence is about the comparing. And then so if social media was that safe, you wouldn't have the need to make a second account, you know, if you're so big. But because like most people do have a second account because they feel that they can't show everything to everybody, because humans tend to judge very quickly. And then around social media, it's like when you scroll, like sometimes we subconsciously judge as well, you know, as great as we want to be. Like if we subconsciously judge, imagine people who are so used to just going to social media to judge people. And then that comes with the negative part of social media of pressure, whereby you're pressured to only show the good parts. So if you don't have enough good parts in your life, there's nothing to show. Or maybe, you know, if you don't have a good fashion sense, you're pressured, like you're pressured to have a good fashion sense. Am I worthy enough to post this outfit of the day? Is my outfit of the day, you know, good enough for, is it Instagram worthy? Or maybe if my content is funny enough, or this person is prettier, this guy is more handsome, this relationship looks better. Yeah, it all comes down to just comparing ourselves. And like, honestly, I can say that I don't escape from that as well sometimes. But I try my best to, you know, make sure that it doesn't, the comparing doesn't consume me whole, you know, or like, you know, you uphold yourself well as well. And remind yourself that social media is there because like you want to have fun on the platform and you want to connect on the platform, not to, you know, continue harming yourself. Something
that
like that.
Makes sense. That I think that actually, so we actually covered in terms of like mental health now. Obviously, how social media can be a negative. So on the one hand, some people argue that like the fact that people want to have like a separate account actually means that you don't really feel comfortable in the main on the main platform. But I do think that actually that's actually one of a good thing of social media for all its flaws, because it actually allows people to express themselves. But then let's move towards addiction, I should say, like the inability to disconnect. So earlier on, I did mention that if people end up feeling that social media is actually damaging their mental health, or making them feel like they're not worth as much they actually are, they should have this ability to disconnect. But do you think that people actually finding it very difficult to disconnect? What is your take on that? Either one of you.
I feel like disconnecting is actually really hard because there's this thing called like FOMO. You know, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, because you're so used to seeing what people are up to nowadays, or, you know, who's hanging out with who, you know. So when you disconnect, if you're forced to be with just yourself and forced to be with the present. So that makes it really hard to disconnect, because I admittedly I've not disconnected from social media since SPM days, because I disconnected once just to focus on my SPM. But I've not disconnected since then. But how I cope with like not letting the negativity of social media pass through me. I think that doesn't sound right. Get to me. Yeah, there you go.
Get you.
So what I do, pass through me. So what I do so that the negativity of social media doesn't get to me is that I mute people. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, because blocking somebody would make the other person you block terasa.
Yeah.
Yeah, outrage. They might be
Because
just
they will
yeah.
know you blocked them because they can't access your account, and that will lead to future problems with that person maybe. Or if you don't know that person, then maybe you can block them. Or if that person, then it's easier to block. But maybe if it's your own friend that you don't like their content, you don't have to hurt them or anything. Just mute them.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good tool that
So
Instagram has.
I mute a lot, like on Twitter and Instagram. Like I don't mute y'all. Don't worry.
So there's nothing to mute from mine, but yeah.
You're already on mute, Chris.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. I actually do mute a couple of people on Instagram. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
That actually helps because, like, the thing is that this is something to do, like, your mental
Out
state
of sign,
as well.
out of mind.
Yeah, this is actually something to your mental state as well, because, like, sometimes I actually can't justify myself. Why do I find like this, whatever this person is really, like, super, like,
Yeah.
and the fact is that I feel that I'm rational about it, in the sense that I don't have a justification as to why I find that person annoying, which is why I mute that individual, so that I don't, like, create more animosity between us. So I think that one of the ways where people have this ability to disconnect on social media. In fact, I think that this is one of the ways that social media actually helps you to disconnect from certain people without actually making it
a big issue, right?
Of caution. But that's the thing. But on your point about not disconnecting from social media, actually, I can tell you I've never disconnected from it before. I always use it, but I think that I automatically disconnect when I'm under stress, when I'm under pressure, because that's when I start to not use my WhatsApp often. I don't use Instagram often and all that. So yeah, I think I'm able to naturally disconnect, but I've never gone as far as, like, deactivate my account for
like a cleanse, like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, on the topic of, like, muting, right? It's better than also confronting by hurtful words, because that will be already considered cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying is also one more thing.
You don't like this person's content, right? It annoys you. Like, you have your reasons why it annoys you, and then you just tell them, like, it's better you just mute them instead of going full on why you don't like them.
Talking about online harassment and cyberbullying, I think to a certain extent it's very normalized these days, especially around famous people, because I think it's quite common where people comment very nasty stuff or very hurtful stuff on maybe the pictures or the videos posted by famous people. For example, like if it's people as famous as Justin Bieber, right? I think he's probably used to it at this point, and I think it really shouldn't be the case, because it's cyberbullying, right? Because I think cyberbullying is a thing because we can be anonymous online, so we don't really get any repercussions. There's no fear, no repercussions from whatever we say online. And, like, if people are doing it from a very young age, I think our parents can't really catch it also, because it's very hard to catch things online, right? Yeah. So and I think that actually online harassment also falls under the same umbrella of, like, mental health. And I think touching back a bit on mental health, right? I think Aliessa mentioned about FOMO just now, and I really relate to that, because I think one of the previous episodes, I think it was the introverts one, I mentioned a bit about how I'm on social media basically because I'm very FOMO, like especially when I'm in uni. So, like, just now before this we were discussing, and I feel that for me, I do feel like I want to disconnect from social media, but then and I feel like I'm more likely to disconnect when I'm here in Malaysia instead of when I'm in UK, because I feel like in UK I feel very pressured and I feel obligated to, like, keep in touch with my friends, right? Because that's our community there. And, like, if let's say I go off social media, I feel like there'll be a lot of things going on that I'm missing out on. And I think that this is mostly towards Insta stories, because if you're talking about just Instagram, right, there's, like, Instagram posts and Instagram stories. So I think these two things, they hurt mental health in different ways. So, for example, Instagram posts, if we see, like, someone posting, because Insta posts is, like, the content I feel is very curated, so we only post, like, the best pictures of ourselves. And then we compare our
worthy
bodies.
ones.
We compare our body to, like, the bodies of the people who post pictures of themselves online, right? And then that is for Insta posts. And then for Insta stories, I feel like we claim to film like our everyday life when actually we are filming just the best part. So it's basically like living in like a reality show, where like we only share we only share all our ups and we don't share our downs. And I guess it's a given lah, cause like no one would share their downs, right?
With like so many strangers, right?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like acquaintances, you don't know if you can trust so many people with your vulnerability.
But that's the thing. Yeah, I think the key point that you raised over there, I think that actually like struck a chord with me. I think in terms of cyberbullying, because like very recently, I mean in the past year or so, for example, when it comes
Have you been cyberbullied?
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying that like, it's the point that I'm going to raise right now. I'm moving towards it. Sorry, like basically like online harassment and all that, and basically like all the misinformation that spreads through social media and all that. I think that's actually a very interesting point, because very recently, like even in like when it comes to like the global stage, like so we all know like Trump is that like the Twitter guy, keeps on tweeting, and basically what Twitter has done is actually they have decided to like put an end towards like spreading misinformation, in which they've started to like they have labeled some of like Trump's tweet as like factually inaccurate and stuff like that. So they've started to like fact check. But that leads to a different kind of problem, because social media is supposed to be the platform that basically allows free speech. So Facebook has argued that they will not do what Twitter is doing because they are not they are basically not the regulating body. They don't think that they have a right to basically control what content is being raised. So I think that when it comes to like in terms of like cyberbullying or basically spreading misinformation or online harassment and stuff like that, to a certain extent, this is a negative of social media as well, because a lot of social media giants do not want to get involved in these kind of things, because they're basically saying that it is freedom of speech, freedom of expression. And the thing is that this is an issue because obviously they would realize misinformation or online harassment being spread by basically or say people saying racist things online and all that. They'll be able to trace it more often with regard to people who are actually like famous globally, I would say, or people that actually influence the world. But when it comes to actually like you and I, for example, I think that they're less likely to actually regulate what we say. So this makes like social media a platform in which anything can actually happen over there. Like you can say whatever you want, and only in certain occasions you will get called out for it or get caught. So that is a negative of social media, I guess, with regard to these things. So I do think like tech giants can do more about this, but obviously
to help people feel safer on the platform, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean like.
But they have done so. I mean, like if people say like inflammatory things online, like when it comes to like racism and all that, they have taken it down. But it's also important that you do not lose sight of the usual things that even happen amongst like students, like body shaming, stuff like that.
Minuscule things, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean like in Malaysia is like, if you notice, it's because like I feel like we are our biggest, our own, like your own race is your biggest critic, maybe. Or like your nation. It's not really, I don't know. I feel like Malaysians can be really judgmental. Some, not some, not all, but some. Because like, okay, let's say as a Muslim woman, you have to cover up, right? And like I don't cover up, but because I'm not Instagram famous or anything, no one's really calling me out for it, or like no one's really judging me for it. Like it's my choice at the moment. It's my choice not to. But a lot of what I notice is that in like Insta famous girls, if they don't cover up, then people don't see beyond that. They don't see the achievements of that girl beyond that. Maybe she has she's saying to people that she won this award, but people don't acknowledge that award. Instead, they acknowledge the fact that, oh, you're not, kenapa tak tutup, kenapa tak pakai tudung, lebih cantik kalau pakai tudung, like who gives you the right to say all that? And then
I see comments like that quite often.
If it's too often, and then even if you're not even Malay or Islam, if you look a little bit Malay, people will attack you. Like it's like, how do I say? And then a lot of people back this up because it's religiously, so you can't run away from it. So, and then that person will have to bear all the, the stress and the pressure.
Yeah,
And then they might end up covering up due to pressure,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So but like peer pressure as well on social media. I think that like basically like social media is like I don't know, it's something like you get a lot of benefits from it in terms of like, which we'll talk about the positives later on, but in terms of the negatives, it can actually be like really bad in that regard. It's basically like the comments that you have actually said, that the kind of comments that you mentioned over there is basically like something like poking you all the time, like do this, do that, do this, do that,
Yeah, or like
eventually.
Or if your significant other doesn't post about you, people assume you're not together.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Fair.
But like, I think it's important, if like in this age, it is like important to extend to show that you're not single, but you don't have to show it off.
I get what you mean.
Yeah. So talking about like freedom of speech, right? Maybe now is a good time to like transition into the positives, right? So I think so. Social media has given everyone a voice. Like for example, three of us now, we won't be doing this without the presence of social media, right? And then, for example, like again during the Black Lives Matter movement, like everyone was like contributing, and there's a lot of awareness spread on the movement, and I think that is like social media like significantly contributed to that. So it's like, I think freedom of speech is it's a very good way. Like it is one of the very like very significant positives of social media. But I think that I think sometimes it also gets very like loud and judgmental, like what Aliessa said just now, right? Yeah, and I think being judgmental is not really social media on its own. It's like human nature, right? When you're famous, like everyone will find a flaw in you. But then I think social media like exaggerates it because everyone has a chance to say something. Yeah. So what do you guys think about like this like is it good that everyone has a voice? Like at one hand it can get too noisy, too judgmental, like on the other hand, we should have the right to speak.
I have a question. What happens if you don't want to use your voice? There's this judgment where, how during the Black Lives Matter movement, like it created so much positivity that we should defend Black lives, we should contribute, donate, sign petitions, right? Keep yourself updated on this info, right? That's like basic human things to do. Maybe like, if you care about humanity, you do this, all these stuff, right? And you're only able to do that because you have a voice, and because you encourage other people because it matters, right? But what happens if you don't want to use your voice? What if you don't do all these? Like, remember the Blackout Tuesday thing? Post a black picture. You post a black picture to tell people that you're with them. But what happens if you don't want to post that picture? What happens if you don't want to use your voice for Black Lives Matter? Does that make you wrong?
I feel
it's something my brother me, right? So why do people why do people coerce other people to
So focusing on this point, like, so basically I think like social media, like it gives people a voice, but it's not a voice that they shove down your throats. It's basically like up to you how you want to use that voice that's given to you. So some people just don't use it at all, whereas some people do. On your point on us, like what happens to people who don't want to voice out, I think that it becomes a problem when people are being forced on social media to say things that they don't want to say. I think that is the problem with social media. So like in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement, like I said in the previous episodes that we had about this, I think that social media actually really helped a lot in terms of like spreading awareness. I mean, you basically saw like people who are never inclined to talk about these things starting to actually like realize the importance of talking about these things. So that is the benefit of social media. But I think that this is just superficial if people only do it because everybody else is doing it on social media.
And I follow the trend, right?
Yes, and following the trend and hopping onto the bandwagon. So I think that is a problem that social media brings, because whilst it can actually raise awareness, the problem is how much is the impact of the awareness? Like, do people actually right after that actually like keep in touch with what is happening? or people
How
just
authentic is it?
Yeah, correct. So the authenticity is a problem, but I do think that overall, it has worked in like spreading awareness.
Yeah.
But I do think that people shouldn't be pressurized into posting things like that. Like, I mean, you can stand in solidarity with any movement that you want to stand with, like in silence. You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
people shouldn't be pressured to do it. That's what I think. So if people don't want to utilize their voice, then don't. I think that as long as people don't utilize their voice in a way where they are actually causing more problems, then I think it's fine. But all in all, I don't think that people should be pressured. I think that people, if they want to use social media as a platform to raise issues such as like Black Lives Matter and all that, it has to be on their own accord and because they genuinely feel that they have a duty to do so.
Yeah, so like I completely agree with you with the part that you say that some people, they just, because it's very like you say superficial, right? It's very face value. You just see a picture, for example, and you don't know the reasoning behind it. So like a lot of people, they just feel like pressured and obligated to like just post the black picture or whatever, like so that I don't get fired. But so like I think that is so that is one of the, going back to the positive, that is one of the positives where we can very easily spread awareness and spread messages. But I think it's also important to be very aware of what we say and be intentional about whatever we post and we share. So so like moving on to another positive, right? I think it's very common these days to like social media can be a career these days. It's very easy for people to start businesses. So like for example, like maybe 10-20 years ago, if you want to start a business, you need this sum of money to like rent a shop, for example, open up a shop. But then now, right, like anyone can do it. You don't even need a shop to sell stuff, because like
you can do it from the comforts of your own home.
Like Instagram shops is like such a common thing these days. And also Instagram businesses, I mean, and it's very easily accessible. It's free of charge to start. And okay, let's talk about being a social media influencer, right? I think this is also a bit controversial, where it is a career. Like I do think that it's genuinely a career, and people just don't see the work that goes behind being being an influencer. People think that these social media influencers, they just get free stuff and they post a picture, but I really don't think so. Like there is a lot of work that goes behind it, and also people think that
there's a team. Maybe
there's a what? Sorry?
Like these people probably have a team to help manage.
Exactly. And like basically, like people think that it's very easy, but I don't think it is, because there's really a lot of hard work that goes behind it, and there's also a stigma against it. And I think that I personally think that social media, being a social media influencer, is a legit career. Like what do you guys think?
Chris, you can go first.
Okay, my take about it. I don't think that's a specific career, because I think that a lot of people are basically have like earned an income through like being a social media influencer. But I'm actually not too familiar with how it actually works. But I do think it's not as simple as just like posting a picture and all that. They probably have like contractual like agreements with like whoever that they are supposed to help promote their items and all that. They probably have like certain rules that they have to follow and all that. But I don't know much about it, but I don't think it's just as simple as posting pictures and all that, even though it may seem that way. But I think that actually it can lead back to the problem of mental health as well, because I think that a lot of people actually do tend to compare themselves with these social media influencers, even like that do business and all that. So I don't know too much about it, genuinely.
Well, the social media these social media influencers, people don't really consider them like a proper job, because you don't see them, going to work and then at the end of the month getting a salary. So because people don't see this visually or like know this, they don't consider this a work. They just maybe consider this a hobby, and then they get money, but it's actually a full-time job to most people, because like, how do you say, the job includes promoting brands. So that could be like, you're basically a marketing assistant, like in that sense. So promoting brands, and then at the same time you have to stay relevant enough to influence. So that comes the hard part of, like
Keeping the relevance,
keeping
right?
it,
Yeah.
keeping the relevance, keeping it consistent, because once people lose interest, then, and if you aren't as relevant anymore, then the brands do not want you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then you would have said you have lost your job. But I think in these days, like a whole ton of companies consider these people very important, because having a very loyal fan base, people are more likely to follow what their influencers are wearing, buying, drinking, eating.
Yeah, it basically
You know?
helps. It basically helps these businesses to expand their reach. So,
Yeah.
for instance, that's the benefit of social media, because, like, if you start a business, for example, you can begin you can start an Instagram page and all that, but it's going to be very difficult for you to actually grow that page. Or it's going to take a considerable amount of time to actually grow that page. Like, you're going to have to promote it yourself, and like basically your reach will take a while before it grows. But these social media influencers are actually a very good are very good people to actually use, because they already have a base.
Yeah.
They have a base of like followers, and if you actually get them to actually post up your things, like they're more likely to actually more people are likely to see your products and stuff like that. And in fact, even if that's when that social media like hacks your, say, your business account in there, that's when more people will have will explore it. So I think that these social media influencers actually have played a very big part in actually can play a very
lot
big
of,
helping businesses expand. And social media, this is a benefit of social media, because they've actually allowed not just businesses to thrive, but they've actually allowed individuals to actually be able to like earn something from it as well.
Yeah. I think that another challenge of being a social media influencer, right, is like it's not a stable career. Like it depends on whether people like you or not, and it's very hard to keep up, right? For example,
it's very subjective.
Yeah, it is very subjective, and also during like the COVID-19 period, I think a lot of influencers, among many other people, of course, but like influencers in particular, I think it was very hard for them, because like, you know, brands are not willing to like give this amount of money. Yeah. So it's like, so I guess social media influencers, they get their income based on like, you know, it's like their word of recommendation, right? People see that they are using this, and then people are like, okay, this brand is good, blah, blah, then they use it. So so I think that being an influencer, like, it's not wrong. I do think it's a legit career, but like what Aliessa said about mental health just now, right? I think that is also a very significant point, where a lot of influencers, they portray their life as like very perfect, and they portray their bodies and their faces like very beautiful. So I think it's also like, if you're an influencer, I think it's also important to think like, what are you influencing people to do, right? Because you already have this outreach, and you can use this outreach also to influence people to be, you know, to be better individuals, to love themselves more, instead of just influencing people to, oh, you know, spend this amount of money to buy something that I recommended. So there's nothing wrong with earning a living through social media, but just like at the end of the day, make sure you're contributing something. Like you're contributing something useful to the community,
to society.
I think that that's in terms of like, go ahead, you can go first.
Okay, so but I feel like I feel like the type of social media influencer that has it the hardest now is those that you know, that promote hotels, you know, by traveling to that hotel. Because now you can't, because so a lot of influencers, they tend to travel from place to place. So that you see these types where they post like pretty pictures by beaches or in cities. So these people are paid to stay at hotels and such, right? But now we can't really travel. So if you think about it, how are they making most of their income? How are they sustaining themselves if traveling is not really permitted? It's not safe at the moment. So I think they have it the hardest. I mean, in terms of what type of social media influencer are you, I think they have it the hardest at the moment. Those traveling, the one that you know, that needs to travel all the time.
Yeah, basically, I think that like one of the challenges of being a social media influencer clearly is that like you've mentioned early on, which is maintaining your relevance, I think. And in terms of like a lot of influencers, I think that like the ones you mentioned about those who travel, like they would be actually like really hit hard by basically what is happening around the world right now. And so that is a problem when people become when we become too dependent on social media, I would say. But I think that these people know, the influencers know what they have to do whenever they're in this situation. So like basically like for them to continue like thrive on social media, actually it really depends on their good judgment, I would say. But just like like try to like close what we're discussing. So like we've basically been talking about basically the influence of social media through the positives and also the negatives. So I think that what we've got from the positives is that a lot of these positives can actually be used to actually help counter the negatives of of social media. For example, like we've actually just mentioned about how influencers have a very big reach. So for instance, if they could actually talk more about the challenges that they face, for example, or like if they can make it a point to like somehow highlight that not everything that goes on in life is like that we see on social media is like all good, then I think they could perhaps send a message towards helping like issues like mental health and all that. But of course, I would say that we cannot force influencers themselves to do that, because we cannot expect them to just open up with everything online just because they want to like help people.
They don't owe us anything either.
Yes, correct. So what I'm saying is that they have the ability to do so. So for those who are comfortable of doing so, they can actually do so. But of course, we can't expect them to do it as well, because if ordinary people can't express themselves about these things openly sometimes, what more social media influencers themselves, because they are also human.
Preach.
Yeah. So I think like just to wrap it up, right? I feel like social media is a tool, and social media itself is not bad, but it's our usage of social media that makes it bad, right? So it's all about taking control over your own feelings and what you do. So I really think that you can really control this stuff. For example, what we mentioned about muting people that make you feel not right about yourself, right? Yeah, so it's like you can make good use of just the positives of social media, and you yourself can take the step to remove all these negatives. And also one more thing that I realized that really helps.
You're in control,
Yeah. And it's also that people, I feel like I should understand that people don't actually care as much as we think. Like for example, right, if I post a story, right, I think a lot of people do this, but it's quite embarrassing to admit, but I think a lot of people do it, so I'm just gonna say it. Like for example, when you post a story, right, I'm sure you rewatch your own stories, right? So
yes.
So I think that is very common, and I think what we should understand is that people don't care. Like they watch your stories because they're bored, and you just like swipe through. Whereas in our heads, it's like, oh, we look this way, we look that way, the angle, the sunlight, whatever. So I think it's just important to understand that we care too much. We care more than we should, basically.
Then we should, That's why sometimes if you shouldn't think twice. You should think twice, and we shouldn't think thrice of wanting to post something. If it makes you happy and it doesn't harm anyone, like if you like it, like just do it. Like even if it's something embarrassing, but if you want to share it to the world, like maybe you fell down, you wanted to share it or something, like that's okay, just share it. People who want to see it, want to interact with it, they will, and if they don't, then they also won't. So as long as
go on.
As long as like you don't get too absorbed, it should be okay.
So I think that we can wrap up over here, since like we are almost hitting an hour. So I think that we have actually really discussed really in depth the influence of social media. Like we have actually covered. So basically, in terms of the negatives, we actually talked about mental health, which was a topic that this like Sauron also discussed in a couple of episodes back about self-love. And then we also talked about how social media is negative in terms of like addiction, and most importantly, I think it is the invasion of privacy to a certain extent, because obviously we don't really like it if people keeps on, if somebody like from far away actually knows what we're doing. But also there are a lot of positives to social media. Like it is an effective tool to spread awareness. It actually helps us like keep in touch with families and friends, for instance, like what we're doing right now. And then it is a good platform for businesses and careers, such as in terms of like social media influencers. And also one of the takeaway points that I would actually take from this episode is that how TikTok works. So thank you, Aliessa, for actually sharing about TikTok, because
no problem. One day we're together, we can do one.
But all in all, what I would say is that I think that social media is we can arguably call it like a double-edged sword, because you get a lot of benefits from it, but at the same time, there's a lot of negatives from it. So I think that what's most important is that we need to be able to strike a balance in our use of social media. I don't think that we should be swayed by what we see on social media too often, but we should also be able to like learn how to express ourselves more freely without the fear of being judged and all that. So yeah. So thank you for joining us today, Aliessa.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It was a lovely conversation.
See you
liked
guys.
it.
Yeah, see you back in Sheffield then.
Like the sun's setting. I'm losing lighting.
Yeah.